Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Conor Brennan-Burke with us today. He's CEO and founder at Hyperspell, RAG as a Service, whatever that means. We're going to explore that meaning together. So X, A4 Capital. So he did some venture scouting in there and angel investor, founder fellowship at ODF 21 on deck. That is one of my favorite. I describe it as an incubator, sort of. Founded a bunch of companies included AbleGen and some others that we'll talk about today. Wharton School educated guy, so a pretty fun guy. We had a pre-conversation about SF and AI, so we're certainly going to talk about that today. Podpire is presenting that podcast. That is my podcasting company. If you want to start, scale, monetize a podcast through YouTube AdSense, lead generation, and sponsors, you can go to podpire.com. We have a free ebook there and a masterclass to accelerate your podcast learning. Conor, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Thanks, Charles. It's great to be here. Excited for this chat. I think you gave a bit of a sense of my background. I'm originally from Western New York, Rochester. Went to Haverford for undergrad while I did an exchange at Wharton. Started off my career in consulting, working with big companies, helping them transform their operations with tech, and just got really, really interested in building in software. After that, I worked at Checker for a while. It's an API for background checks. Was able to build APIs and background checks products that were used by Uber and DoorDash and Instacart and other big tech companies. Started my first company, AbleGen, which was focused on AI music. So actually building AI music tools for producers and DJs. We got that to profitability and bootstrapped it. And that led me to my current venture, which is Hyperspell. So Hyperspell is building infrastructure for the AI app layer. We allow you to connect any data source and make that data useful for AI.
Right. Okay, so let's start with AbleGen. You did that for 1 year and you targeted music producers, tough audience, right? So what did you learn from that one? And why did you close it down?
Yeah, so I actually didn't close it down. It's still running today. Shout out to the team that's working on it. Rebranded as Tona AI. It's an incredible team, and they're still operating. I found it challenging to run 2 startups at once, and so I've moved into an advisor role for that team. But it's continuing going. AbleGen was a great experience. So it actually was born out of a hackathon. And so we, showed up to this AI and music hackathon, and I didn't have a team and didn't have anyone to work with. I kind of went on a whim because I said I've been a producer, DJ, been interested in music all my life. I love AI. While I was at the hackathon, I met some incredible folks, and we decided to. We were coming up with ideas and kind of jamming and sitting at the table together, and then it said, "Hey, why don't we form a team and start working on this?" And so. It was quite an experience. It's actually my first hackathon I've done since freshman year of college, and I think everything that could go wrong did go wrong. We were building a AI music product, and the judges came over to us and said, "Okay, great, we want to see it. Are you guys ready?" And the product wasn't ready yet, so we said, "Hey, give us a second. We need to restart the laptop." And then ran out of the room and in the hallway, and then came back in, and they said, "All right, great, we want to hear it now. What does this AI music sound like?" And so we got a prompt from the judges, and then we entered the prompt in and we pressed play, and no sound came out. It was really awkward, right? There was just silence. Then we pressed play again, and no sound. And after a bit, I was like, well, just imagine that you were hearing music right now. Let's just picture how incredible that would be, and what a cool experience that would be. And then we realized actually that we were trying to fix the code and figure out is a problem with the program, and then we realized that the speaker we were using had ran out of battery. So was able to play the music eventually. And then we ended up winning that hackathon. We were the top 5 teams at a nightclub in SF, and they were announcing the third place team was this team, second place team was this team, and announced us as the first place. And I think it really, for me, it was really validation of our idea and what we want to build, and that there was a market for this. A bunch of folks reached out, said, "Hey, we're interested in investing." And our team said, we could go the venture backed route, but we want to build something for creators and producers and builders. And let's just bootstrap it instead and build it from the ground up and build a sustainable business that is artist first and focused. We don't need external funding for that.
And how does that one compete with Suno?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a different market. What we realized was I've been a music producer for years and DJ, played a bunch of instruments. And the tools that you use for creating music, I was having this experience where in my day job, I'd be working on B2B SaaS and, creating these beautiful UIs and thinking about the customer experience. And then in the evenings, I would be producing music, and I felt like going back in time 30 years. You use this clunky interface and really like UIs that are hard to navigate. It's not streamlined. Things that we kind of take for granted, like real-time collaboration or saving to the cloud or other kind of basic things in software, don't exist in music production right now. Like if you're working in Ableton Live on your computer and you want to collab with somebody else, you're sending files back and forth and trying to collaborate. There's nothing like Google Docs for music. And so, and there's a bunch of other things that were kind of nascent and not easy to use. And so for me, I said, well, there's an opportunity here Suno is great if you're a consumer and you're just someone that, likes making music and you don't have any musical talent. But for all these DJs and producers, what if we could embed AI into the tools that they're already using, right? You're already using this workflow that's kind of outdated. These companies are never going to develop AI features on their own and incorporate it. What if we were that bridge where we can take all these innovative new AI music tools and then bring that in? And so, yeah, that was kind of the innovation that sparked AbleGen of how do we bring AI to people that are very serious musicians.
Right. And how did that lead to Hyperspell? What are you seeing in one integration and all the world's data?
Yeah, so I think they're two very different companies, very different sides of myself, right? I've been, again, playing music for years, and it was something I was passionate about and interested in. And I learned a lot in the experience of building AbleGen, now Tona, we were fully bootstrapped. So as we were recruiting team members, we said, well, we can't pay anyone. We don't have any capital. So let's figure out a structure where we can just pay people in equity and profit sharing and then recruit a team there. And today there are 10 people working on Tona, the new company, with all paid just equity and profit sharing. So it certainly taught me a lot about how to recruit, how to hire, how to build a team, how to motivate folks, how to get customers, but without any of the normal trappings of VCs and accelerators. I think for me, I just realized that there was a much, much bigger opportunity in building something like Hyperspell. And, I love music and I'm passionate about it, but I wanted to swing for something much bigger. And so for Hyperspell, we started off building an AI agent to automate your busy work. When I was a product manager, I spent a lot of my days kind of copying and pasting information from one format to another. And I said, well, there's got to be a way to have an AI solve this much better than I did. And so we started building that AI agent. And then we realized for that to be useful, we had to connect to all these data sources. So we had to connect to your Gmail and pull in information there. And we had to connect to your Slack and pull in data from that. We had to connect to your Google Drive and learn the context about your organization. And really quickly, we looked at all the tools available and we found there's really nothing out there that takes data and makes it useful for AI and that you can easily connect to. There's a lot of kind of point solutions and tools that take pieces of the pipeline, but nobody had actually said, hey, let's go end to end and take care of all this for you. That's how Hyperspell was born.
So you do consider it as a moonshot. What could emerge out of this? What would be like a final-ish evolution of it? Do you think you could make an AGI for work in there?
Yeah. Well, we're building tools for other builders. So what we're really focused on is the next generation of AI builders. And we're excited for somebody non-technical, for example, to say, hey, I want to build an app where you can just chat with your email and you can spin that up in 2 seconds, right? Where instantly you can talk to all your emails, you can ask questions, you can have auto reply to things. Or let's say you want to, build an app that summarizes your Slack data, or it looks at your Google Drive and you can chat with it and interact with it. You could build an agent that can interact with all these systems. What we're really excited for is to empower this next generation of builders. And what we believe is, look, the future of work is AI. There's going to be more AIs working than there are humans. And we want to build the layer to make it so that all these AIs can work with all these tools and data that already exists.
So sort of building the roads, the highways infrastructure like Stripe did for online transactions. Why is Zapier not building that, and how are you competing against Replit and Bolt?
Yeah. So the way that we think about it is like are you familiar with a company called Plaid?
Bad?
Plaid,
Yes,
Plaid.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So what Plaid did was there was this emerging fintech ecosystem of okay, all these companies, Robinhood, Venmo, all these companies that wanted to build fintech, but all of them needed to connect to bank data in order to do that. And the bank data was kind of the source of truth. And all those companies could have built their own connections. Robinhood could have built a custom connection to JP Morgan and all these banks. But all those companies said, hey, we're experts in, if you're Robinhood, we're experts in stock trading. If you're Venmo, we are experts in allowing you to pay each other. We're not experts in the underlying infrastructure. And the exciting thing that Plaid did was make it so that all these companies could build on top of them and focus on the things that they were good at and the things that were their domain expertise and that their customers cared about instead of this underlying infrastructure. We want to be the same thing for AI data. And so you asked about, companies like Replit, other tools like that. I think we're in a bit of a different category there. We would consider ourselves to be much closer to, Raggy, Vectara, some of the point tools like unstructured Llama Index. With the key thing that's different from us is we'll actually go end to end and solve this all for you. So you can set it up in a few minutes and get to high quality data instead of spending time using some of these other frameworks and connecting them.
And who's your ICP? Do you target technical people or not technical ones?
Yeah, right now we're focused on technical builders. So we are focused on, if you are someone that's building an AI and you are spending all your time trying to figure out how to do data chunking, how to parse PDFs, how to think about how often you refresh data that you're ingesting from Slack, how do you look at markdown in documents and then translate that into useful input? If you're trying to figure out how often you are ingesting data, how to store it, if your system breaks every time you add a new customer and every time you try to add a new data source, then Hyperspell is for you. If you want a tool where you could just pick any data source, specify, hey, this is what the output we're looking for is, and then focus on your end user application, that's really the problem that we're solving.
Love it. You got some funding, so pre-seed, I would guess. What are your top goals for this year at Hyperspell?
Our number one goal right now and always is serving customers. And so, we want to make, the reason we're doing this company is because we are really, really excited about this AI wave that's happening. And we want to empower other people to build. The reason we started the company was because we kept talking to founders in AI and they all faced the same problem. And they were all trying to build this data stack, and they were all trying to think about, hey, do we do this in-house? Do we use external tools? How do we string them together? And, for us, we were just excited about all the things that all these people were building, and we wanted to empower them and make them happen. So, we're going to be hiring this year with the funding that we've raised. But our real focus is just, we are so excited about this new wave of AI companies and how can we help support as many of them as possible.
And is it pay per usage? How much should a technical person pay to use Hyperspell?
Yeah, for our early customers, it's actually, we're giving them unlimited queries. So you can use it as much as you want, which we think is a pretty incredible deal. But we know a lot of these other AI companies are also very early. And so, our thing that we offer to them is, hey, you pay one flat fee. We will handle your entire data pipeline. We will connect to the data sources. We will figure out auth accounts. We'll figure out how to manage permissions. We'll figure out your chunking strategy, your parsing, the embedding, even the type of queries. We run multiple queries at the same time. All you need to do is tell us, here's the data source, and here's the type of output I would be looking for. And then we guarantee a quality pipeline in the middle. We charge one flat fee per month, and then we give you unlimited queries based off of that.
Right. And you also do some venture scouting. How does that work? Is it like full commission, and what percentage of your time does that take?
Yeah, I started doing some venture scouting just because I was, in this role at Hyperspell. I was meeting a lot of great founders and chatting with a lot of great founders and meeting a lot of folks that were building incredible products that I was really excited about. And then on the other side, we had been funded by some investors that we really, really liked. We thought added a ton of value and were extremely helpful. And we were grateful for having them believe in us early on. And so it was kind of like putting two and two together. Like, all right, well, I know these incredible founders and I know these incredible investors. Let me just introduce them to each other. And, A4 Capital was the first one to invite us to be a scout, where they had funded our pre-seed and invested in us, and we were able to connect them to some of our friends who are also building incredible companies. And then I think it's very much something that was happening anyways. It's just putting a label on top of it. It's very lucky to know both great founders and great investors. And then also recently joined the Weekend Fund as a scout. So the Weekend Fund is Ryan Hoover, founder of Product Hunt, and that was very similar, right? I met Vedika on the team and Ryan, and I thought, hey, these guys seem great. They're builders themselves. They've built product before. They have a product background. They offer real value to their founders. And then I had some founder friends that were building things that I was really excited about, and just started connecting them. And pretty soon that turned into a scouting role at the Weekend Fund as well. So feel very lucky to have this role. It's everybody wins, right? The founders are excited. The investors are excited. I'm excited because I was able to help connect them. And so it's been a lot of fun to be able to give back to some of our customers. We have customers that we've been able to help connect them to investors, and that's really nice to be able to serve them in that way.
Right, and you're also an angel investor. What is your investment thesis on the startup founder side of things and on the startup itself?
Yeah, so I think I invest at the pre-seed stage, and at the pre-seed, it's really about the team. It's really, really about the team, because teams pivot all the time, and we pivoted ourselves, right? We were building an AI agent, then pivoted to building infrastructure. My thesis is I look for people that are doing very non-traditional things since a young age. They have some reason, something that they want to prove. They have they're outsiders that have kind of found their way in. They pushed through challenges in their life to get to this point. One of the founders I backed early was 18-year-old who dropped out of high school to start a company, and going against consensus, going against the norms. One thing I optimize for a lot is teams, and you want a diversity of skill sets on the team. You want an incredible technical team, but I ask them questions like, what's the best argument you've had with your co-founder? What does that look like when you're arguing with each other and you have different points of view? How does that end up? What I optimize for is not how long the founding team has known each other. It's, can they have really difficult conversations and still be friends afterwards? And there are people who have known each other for years and been friends, but they've never had a tough conversation. And so they actually are never able to do that. And there are people who have known each other for not that long of a time, but they've created a great dynamic and they can really push on each other. So on the founder side, I think it's like deep domain expertise, a why for this, some deep sense of motivation that will make this person work on this problem for the next 10 years. And then a really, really cohesive founding team that I feel like can work together. I also like to see that founders are thinking about the upside and the downside. One of my favorite questions to ask is like, okay, tell me a story of how this is going to 100x the vision that you have right now. Okay, your vision is here. How do we get even higher? What does that look like? And then tell me a story about, if this doesn't work out, why won't it work out, right? Like what's the biggest risk right now? And I find that gives you a lot of insight into the founder's mindset. On the startup side, we invest a lot in the AI app layer just because that's who our customers are. There's a lot of plays there. I mean, very excited about like traditional industries. And so I think there's an opportunity for, there's many industries that never adopted SaaS to begin with because they just never got used to using a UI, but they are used to talking to people, right? And so if you can have an AI agent that they're talking with, I think they can actually leapfrog the previous generation of SaaS. And then I'm also really excited about other infrastructure tools. I think we're very much in we're not at the iPhone era of AI yet. I think we're in like the Palm Pilot era. I think there's a lot to come in terms of what we're building and what's going to happen. And so I'm excited to find folks that are saying, hey, we have this incredible tool of abundant intelligence, and how do we apply that to a unique domain and make sure that it intersects with reality.
Conor, I have so many other questions for you, but we're already on time, so let's do a round one next year to follow up on what you're up to. Till then, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, you can find out more about us at hyperspell.com. That's hyperspell.com. You can find out more about me on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm happy to chat with anyone. And if you're building something you're really excited about in AI, feel free to reach out.
That was Conor and Charles for another Founder Wisdom.